Well, holy smokes, is Waymo gonna crush Tesla? As we can see right here on the graph, we can see Waymo's robotaxi rides that are going sky high, and if we look at the area that is covered in the United States by Waymo, it is much larger as compared to Tesla. So, are we at the cusp of really seeing Waymo crashing Tesla's robotaxi? This is what we're gonna be discussing in today's video, so make sure you smash the like button and stay till the end of the video because I'm gonna be showing you which one I think is winning the race overall. So let's begin first with the graph right here. As we can see, this is Waymo's quick ascent to 500,000 weekly robotaxi rides. So on the x-axis we can see the timeline, and on the y-axis we can see the rides per week. So as you can see, Waymo started back in August 2023. So it was a paid robotaxi service, was the first time to begin in San Francisco, and over time, as you can see now in 2026, March 2026, now it has scaled to almost 500,000 weekly robotaxi rides, and that's a very nice number to see. Now if you look over the past year, so let's say March 2025, as you can see at this time right here, it was sitting at around 250,000 rides per week. So as we can see, within 1 year there is more than doubling of the robotaxi rides per week. So if we're seeing a doubling of the robotaxi rides per week, so you expect the profits to be doubling, and actually the profits will be more than doubling because, you know, with the economies of scale, whenever you have more services and more robotaxis undergoing like rides, this means that you will distribute the costs on these different rides, which yields higher profit margins. So this is really showing you that Waymo is really catching up and maybe winning the race, and actually the number of weekly robotaxi rides by Waymo is way higher and way more as compared to Tesla. So this is a website that I would like to that I really encourage you to be tracking, what is called Robotaxi Tracker. This one really shows you what Tesla, Waymo, and Zoox, these are the three primary services that provide, or companies that really provide this robotaxi service to end consumers. So as you can see right here, I will first be reading on Waymo, okay? So as you can see, the fleet growth, it has reached 3,014 vehicles as of December 2025. This was the last official update that was provided by Waymo. So 3,000 vehicles. If we go on flip to Tesla, for example, we can see that the fleet is only 532 vehicles. So if you compare 532 vehicles as compared to 3,000, we can see obviously that Waymo is really winning the place here, because Waymo is 3,000, Tesla is 500, so that's more than 6 times the fleet of Tesla is for Waymo. So this is really the first thing that Waymo is winning Tesla with. A second thing, now let's look at the area that is serviced and covered by Waymo. So this is Waymo in the United States, and as you can see, it's covered in Atlanta, in Austin, in Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, and, you know, all these different cities all over the US. If we compare that and go scroll down all the way for robotaxi Tesla, as we can see, it's covered mainly in Austin and the Bay Area. So this is just showing you the difference between the areas that are covered. This is Waymo once again, and this is Tesla, all right? So that's the second major advantage that is really happening and going for Waymo. So they kind of have more or less, for the complete full autonomous robotaxi rides, a kind of like a maybe we can argue that. However, maybe they have the first mover advantage right here. So if we look at a third metric right here, so if we keep going up, sorry, at the place right here. Yeah, so if you look at the place right here, we can see that the total reported accidents, you can also see the ads that are engaged. We can also see the profits that they make per ride. So here, for example, this is the average fare for Tesla Robotaxi is $5 in Austin. If you go to the Bay Area, you can also see that it's way higher, almost double that, by $9.5. However, if you look at the Robotaxi from Waymo, I I just saw that. I don't know why it went away. However, I just saw it just a moment ago, and it was just a bit more or less cheaper as compared to Tesla's ride. So this really shows you a third thing whereby Waymo is kind of winning the race right here. Now, are we saying that really Waymo is gonna be the winner of the Robotaxi? Well, we're gonna discuss that at the end of the video, so make sure you stick till the end of the video. However, I wanted to show you one more thing, this area that is covered. So as we can see right here, the service areas that are covered: Atlanta 69 miles, 139 miles in Austin, the Bay Area 264, and all of that is kind of with a total of 1,000. No, that's I couldn't find the exact number right here, so I was just calculating. That is around 800 to 900 miles, square miles. However, if you go to Robotaxi Tesla, we can see that it was written right here. There was a place where it said 1,094 miles. I'm just gonna be doing a Control F. 194. I don't know, 10. Excuse me for that. So let's try to find it right here. Well, I wasn't able to exactly find it. However, I had it right here. So it's 1,094 square miles is equal to 2,800 square kilometer that is really covered by Tesla's Robotaxi. So that's a significant difference in coverage. So I was really thinking, what is the potential for the IPO of Waymo? Will it be spinned off from Google or Alphabet, the parent company, and be a different separate company that investors would be able to invest in? However, unfortunately, it is not yet public. However, we know from those valuations, from a quick Google search, as you can see, Waymo raised 16 billion funding round, achieved a valuation of $126 billion. So that's a significant number right here. All right. So just for you to get an idea, I believe you already know. However, if you look at the Waymo car right here, this is the large sensor this is the LiDAR sensor that Waymo really has that helps with the autonomous ride. So as you can see, this is how it really looks. If we compare that to Tesla, for example, so let's look at the Tesla's Robotaxi official website right here. This is the app. As you can see, with the app, you're able to get your Robotaxi ride. And this is how it really looks. It just looks like a complete normal Tesla that we all know, without that big thing at the top where you can see for Waymo. So that is one advantage for Tesla. So before I show you the comparison that I have made, the final comparison that I have made, I just wanted to show you here how really the aesthetics of Tesla's Robotaxi is far better as compared to Waymo. So as you can see, the doors are really kind of cool right here, and you can see within the Robotaxi, you're able to increase your productivity and do your other things, as you can see right here. So this is the final thing that I was really talking to you guys about. In this place, I will be exploring and showing you what I believe is the major difference between, or the major advantage of Waymo over Tesla, and the major advantage of Tesla over Waymo. And then by the end of this, I want you to tell me which one you think will be able to win the race in the long term. However, my personal opinion is that it is really not going to be just one take-it-all market share. I believe there will be two or maybe three. I believe it's more going to be two players, major players in this area. However, one will be winning more than the other and will be taking more profits and more market share as compared to the other. So let's begin right here. So Waymo, it wins with a larger fleet as compared to Tesla. Of course, as we have seen, you have more than 3,000 cars or vehicles for Waymo as compared to almost 500 for Tesla. More cities that are covered, way more cities that are covered by Waymo as compared to Tesla. Larger area serviced, as we saw, that 2,890 something square kilometers as compared to Tesla. And Waymo is really completely autonomous as compared to Tesla's Robotaxi. We know you have this although it's called unsupervised unsupervised FSD, and you have the Robotaxi. However, in most of the locations, you still have a safety driver, or a safety monitor driver. That's what they call it. So, maybe we can argue that, but that's, one thing that is going for Waymo, and maybe you can have first mover advantage. Maybe that's a question mark, right? However, if we go for Tesla, so Tesla's they have the most important thing for Tesla, in my personal opinion, and maybe the most critical thing overall, is the vertical integration right here. So with Tesla, we have Tesla's vehicles, so Model 3, Model Y, all of those are completely able to kind of take this software of Robotaxi and go for that. So that's, a very critical point right here. They have the software like the Robotaxi or the full self-driving software, the service whereby, Tesla is able to send their end customers on the Robotaxi app, whereby you are able to do that. So you have the vehicle, you have the software right here, you have the services that are covered, and you also possibly have insurance, because we know Tesla's insurance, and you also have things like entertainment. For example, Tesla is able to sell things and monetize things on their screen that you have in front of you. As compared, if you compare that to Waymo, for example, they need third party like Uber. For example, they need their cars. Now Waymo is partnering with Uber in many places. So that's one thing, you're getting rid of an extra third party, so you have more profit margins and easier integration. Of course, for example, Waymo also uses the different cars. So they use Uber service, but they also use Jaguar I-Pace vehicles. So, they are needing different third parties, which leads to lower profit margins, and that also leads to not only lower profit margins, a kind of slower integration that leads to more difficulties for the end customers and for Waymo itself. Now, for Tesla, of course, it is cheaper to build because you have, the sensors and cameras, as compared to Waymo's LiDAR system, which is way more expensive. Now, of course, we know over time, there was a Chinese research that was published that I was reading, whereby, you have the cost of LiDAR really dropping very, very fast at a very nice clip. However, it nonetheless still remains these cameras and the technology of Tesla is really the cheaper one right here. And then another advantage that you have for Tesla is you have economies of scale. Now, because as Tesla and Elon Musk really claim, all the cars that are sold by Tesla that have hardware 4 and above are capable of doing full autonomy, of course. So this really means that because you have all those different cars kind of sold into different, not just within the United States, but also within Europe, within China, within the Middle East, within Africa. So because of that, you have, within just a press of a button, within just one update, Tesla's cars just theoretically are able to drive all around the world with a Robotaxi coming and going for them, with a full self-driving as well, of course. Now, this really means that you have higher economies of scale. Now, this is, of course, hinged on the regulatory approval. So that's, just one small thing on that. That's one important thing, actually, on that. However, that's a key advantage for Tesla. And then finally, you have the aesthetics. That's my personal opinion. We have right here how really Waymo looks. You have all this large LiDAR above the car, as compared to Tesla's Robotaxi, which really looks way more neat, way more nice, in my personal opinion, as you can see right here. So there you go, guys. This is what I think. In my personal opinion, these are the advantages for Waymo, and these are the advantages for Tesla. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If Waymo will be able to crush Tesla, or will Tesla's Robotaxi really crush Waymo? And I'll see you in our next video.